Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to break your codes into multiple modules. Now this is an example of a program that we wrote earlier. We have the rectangle class, we have the square class, and we have the calling of this square or rectangle codes all together in one file. Now if you were to doing some program which is huge, more than a few hundred of lines, you don't want to put everything together, especially the back-end code. Yeah, so now let's learn how to we split this into multiple different files. Yeah, so let's create the first file. Now though it is not a requirement that you have to store the name to be exactly the class name, the file name to be the same as the class name, but because I used to do Java programming, and I think this is a very good practice, so I like to have my class name and my file name to be the same. Yeah, so I'm going to save them together. So similarly, I'm going to create another class. Let's create another file. I'm going to call this a square, and I'm going to copy the square codes over. Okay, I'm going to copy the square code over here. Now first, the rectangle class, now if I were to run it, it is absolutely fine. There's no dependency, nothing. But if I were to run the square code, it give you an error saying that, oh, cannot find what is rectangle. So if that's the case, we need to figure out how to export this module and import it here. So to do that, actually pretty straightforward. All you need to do is module.exports equals to rectangle. You're saying that let's export this rectangle. Yeah. In other words, over here, what you're going to do is you're going to import it. Okay. So we're going to say constant. I'm going to use back the same name. Of course, you can use any other name, but best practice is just not to confuse the other people or yourself in the future. So I'm just going to do it this way. Rectangle.js. Now you can see why having the same name is much easier now. Okay, let me run this. You see, there's no error anymore. So I'm going to bring this code from the execution code from the file that we have earlier, and then I'm going to put it at the bottom here, just to show you to see that it is running. Now it's invalid input. Let me put another value. You can see it is working already. Now usually we prefer it to have another file. I prefer it to have another file. I call it the main app.js, okay, or the main application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this code run here. Okay, but again, the same old problem. Okay, the same old problem. If I run this, it says that square is not defined, no idea what is this, So I need to export this one as well. So what I'm going to do is module.exports equals to square. Yeah, and then I'm going to do the same thing over this main app, where I'm going to include the square. And because if it's a square, you can see it's easier to understand, right? It's easy. Now let me run this code now. You can see that now this main app can execute nicely here already. Yeah. So from one file, okay, two classes inside with the execution of the program. Now I break it down into rectangle, one file, square, another file, and I have one main app. So you can see the code are actually separated, and there's not that cluttered anymore. Yeah, just remember to break it down. You use module.export. You export the class. Okay, of course you can export any other things. You can export a variable. You can export a function, but I prefer to export a class. So that the whole thing are more neat and tidy. And then over here, remember, if you want to use the class from other files, remember to import them. Use this way of importing it, and then it can be also export again. And this is our main application where we actually import the square. You see that I don't need to import the rectangle anymore. since I'm just using the square. Unless if you also want to use the rectangle, then you have to import it here, and you can get the program executed. So I hope you guys find this clear and easy to follow. If you have any problem, feel free to let me know. I'll see you guys in the next class. Thank you. Goodbye.